Hello, hello, and good evening. Happy Monday. Yes, Dwayne, I know I'm late. I tried to make dinner and fell behind. My time management stinks sometimes. It really does. Oh, I'm telling you, I don't normally cook pork steaks, and usually Tommy cooks all the meat. And so I was trying to make dinner for the kids. And yeah, my time management was just not happening today.
Yeah. Dwayne does the bulk of the cooking, and yeah, I don't cook meat. I can't even remember the last time I even tried.
Yeah, I'm getting better at it, but let me tell you, I followed the steps that Tommy told me to do, and I rushed, and he's like, at 7 o'clock, he's like, do you think you have enough time? And I'm like, yeah. I hate it when he's right, but don't tell him that I tell him that. Well, thank you everybody for joining us who has joined us so far. I appreciate it. Let's say hello to some people in chat. We have Mel. Hello, girl. How you doing? We have Dwayne in chat. We have Storage Scavenger. Hello, and I probably killed that. It's been forever since I've said your name. But hello, hello. Thank you for being here. Barbara, hello. Glenn, hello. Swamp Picker.
Oh
Um,
wow, haven't talked to Glenn forever.
Right. Hello, Aunt Kelly. How you doing? Are you on your way to work? Did you have your coffee yet? Hello, Tony. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And I'm sure we'll have more people that are coming in. But to answer your question, yes, we did move the show from Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Time to Monday, 8 p.m. Central Time. Just a whole lot better timing. Well, maybe not tonight, but usually it's a lot better timing. And then we did do some research. Tommy and I did some research, and he ended up doing it way better than I did because Google doesn't care for me too much sometimes. And I'm still learning how to Google things. And Monday nights, according to statistics and all the research that we did, Monday nights seems to be a better night for us to get together because it seems to be the loneliest night of the week. And it's also a very much higher suicide rate. And if we could help and let people know they're not alone, I'm hoping that we can help somebody, And oops, I forgot to I forgot to turn my sound down on my phone. Um, but we will be doing it for about, talking for about an hour and a half. And then right directly afterwards, if anybody, I will drop a link for anybody who would like to come and talk one-on-one with us instead of coming on the panel or talking in chat. If you're more comfortable with talking behind the scenes, and getting some help, we're here. So I will drop that link for that towards the end, but I'm also going to drop the link for anybody who would like to join us this evening on the panel now. Everybody is welcome. Nothing but love. There will be no criticizing. There will be, if that starts to happen, then people start getting removed from the chat. Trying to think of what other rules I had, because this is a safe place and there's absolutely no judgment here. And so if that starts to happen, then unfortunately you guys, whoever does it, will be removed from the chat and blocked from the channel because I want everybody to feel safe. So I think I covered all the bases.
Very good. So what's tonight's topic?
Whatever the chat is wanting to talk about. There's
Very good.
Yeah, so but yeah, we did move it. Dwayne says I'm late, which you'll learn that's usually nothing new with me. And Storage says she's allowed to be late. It's her show. She has to make a grand entrance. Ta-da! This is my grand entrance.
I'm not sure if I know who Storage Scavenger is.
I know his first name, and for some reason, it is escaping my brain at the moment.
Uh-huh. I have a thought of something we could talk about if you want to hear it.
Sure.
Okay. Sorry, my nose is just tickling. It wasn't until just now, right?
What's that? Let me turn this up just a hair.
But suddenly my nose has to start tickling when we're, live. But Dwayne and I, we were just talking earlier, something that I'm sure is on a lot of people's minds, is Thanksgiving is coming up, and it's not going to be a traditional Thanksgiving for many of us. And how are people feeling about this? How you can deal with it? Of course, with the internet and what's Zoom, everybody can sit down in front of their computer with their meal and have a big family Zoom party.
Right.
Quite frankly, I'm fine with it. Because for me, Thanksgiving's about the food. Because, I can see my family whenever. But it's only once a year that Dwayne makes cornbread stuffing. Turkey with maple basting.
Nice.
Cornbread stuffing. Yes.
I am not a stuffing person. I do not like mushy bread.
You know what? It's really weird because you would think that would fall into my category of foods because my thing is more sticky than smushy. Except for I did try to eat a Brussels sprout last night.
And
I spit it out. It was smushy. And Dwayne's like, okay, no more Brussels sprouts.
And that's where I differ. I love Brussels sprouts. I make very good Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, it depends on the preparation.
I steam them or I roast them.
My daughter-in-law, so these were just something Dwayne found in the freezer. Couldn't even remember why he had them. But my daughter-in-law, she had fresh Brussels sprouts that she sliced thin and then put seasoning and I guess put them under the broiler. Or maybe baked for a little bit and then broiled. I'm not sure exactly, but they were crispy like. Very tasty.
Yeah, it sounds like she probably baked them and then broiled them, which I just learned how to broil last night. But we're
Didn't you grow up eating cheese? We call them cheese bubblies, and if we were really fancy, it was tuna fish cheese bubblies. I didn't really like just plain cheese bubblies because it was smushy bread and American cheese.
Yeah, I don't eat tuna. I don't like the smell of it.
I don't care for tuna anymore either. As a kid, I ate it.
And my dad ruined it for me, so you can just imagine. But yeah, I can't. Tommy eats tuna. Jaslyn eats tuna. I will make tuna salad for them, but I literally have to wash my hands. If the juice gets on my hands, I get very
I do that too.
Paranoid because of my dad. I love my dad, but he ruined tuna for me.
I always let the dog drink the tuna water, and that he loves that. And, if I'm, like I said, making tuna salad, I don't care for it. It's a cheap thing for kids, that'll eat it. But yeah, it makes the bread go gooey.
Okay, and so Storage's name is James. I should remember that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It was right there, and I just couldn't. I couldn't get it to come out. I was like, I know his name. Hold on.
So is anybody else? Let's see. We've got some discussions of food. Oh no tuna, no bacon, no cheese.
So James says chocolate pie and pecan pie, favorite part of Thanksgiving.
and can't eat tuna heated, but love tuna fish. You got to have the cold tuna fish sandwich. And but let's see, chocolate pie, pecan pie. Yes, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
And is it me or you? The volume had just cut out. Which one of us was that?
I'm not sure, but I see Dwayne's picking on me. I had to catch up. My StreamYard's trying to
I
catch
wonder if
up.
that's what's going on with me here. I'm gonna refresh my YouTube.
Okay.
But yeah, I love dessert pies. My mother made this wonderful pumpkin chiffon pie. I can make it if I'm feeling patient. That it takes like an hour at least.
Oh
And then it's
no.
gonna be in the fridge, and it is really good. But yeah, I don't know if we're gonna if so here in Utah, we're being encouraged to not gather for Thanksgiving. It's not a state mandate. I don't know if you can do that, but where it is, but Thanksgiving gathering is recommended, but you don't. And I don't know. I don't have anywhere to put people, so it doesn't really matter.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if it's mandated here. We usually don't.
Is that something that can be mandated? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I know they recommend it, but
yeah.
I personally, we don't really spend Thanksgiving with family anyway. We usually do our own thing, but we do have a friend that's going to be spending Thanksgiving alone. And we invited him over for Thanksgiving because we don't want him to be alone.
Yeah.
And so, so hopefully he'll be able to get up here and spend time with us. So it'll be just the 6 of us having Thanksgiving. Tommy's going to make a turkey.
Who makes it 6?
What's that?
Who makes it 6? Because there's 4 of you.
Oh yeah, 5. I'm off with
okay. I didn't know if there was somebody else. The
cat, the birds. Yeah, I meant 5. It didn't come out right.
We're here. 5. Yeah, if anyone comes over, it'd be my brother and sister-in-law. Oh, my son. Oops. Forgot to count him. Huh. He doesn't usually show up on Thanksgiving. That I'm using that excuse why I didn't think about him. But we go to his place on Christmas though. He's like an hour and a half away. So but
wait,
yeah,
I
don't think my mom and Gary are gonna come over. I don't think my mom could handle it. She doesn't even remember that she has me. So I think it might just be more stressful than for Gary.
Yeah.
But yeah, she remembered my 3 older siblings and didn't remember me. I was like, oh, well, I always was the forgotten child.
See, I saw coconut cream pie in chat. We can't have coconut in the house because Tommy and Jaslyn are both allergic to coconut.
Oh, funny. I like toasted coconut on top, but not the coconut mixed in the cream because the texture. Texture's all wrong for me.
Yeah, and I don't know, Dwayne, if Dirty Steve was invited or not because I didn't invite him.
That doesn't mean he's not going to show up.
That is true. He might show up. We never know.
Oh, we
haven't heard from him in a couple weeks.
You know, we have friends who come over later in the evening after dinner that we played cards with, but I doubt they're going to come over this year. That's going to be weird. That's going to be a decade. About that we've been doing that every Thanksgiving. That's going to be really weird.
Yeah. Tommy's on the other side of my computer.
Mm-hmm.
You want to pop your hand over and wave it to everybody?
I was trying to read what Dwayne was saying.
Oh.
So soon come over. I'm right here. Hello.
He's got fingers. But
Looks
no,
like
for
Dwayne is typing pretty fast.
yeah, he is a fast typer. Now sometimes gathering with family for me is way more stressful than not. So that could be part of why I don't care either. We don't have family coming over.
Everybody's saying hi, Tommy. For us, the big holiday is Christmas.
And I know it's Tommy's birthday, right?
What's that?
Tommy's birthday on Christmas?
Yep, he's a Christmas baby. And we celebrate Christmas in the morning, and then in the afternoon is all about his birthday. So once 12 p.m. hits, there's no more Christmas. It's all about Tommy's birthday.
Very good.
So, and then he gets to choose whatever cake he wants.
It's always the same.
Yeah, it's always the same. But he gets to choose whatever cake he wants, and then at 12 o'clock, I start baking it so that we can have it after dinner. And then he gets to pick whatever he wants for dinner. Same with the kids for their birthdays.
Sure.
And so it'll be fun. Usually he wants a spice cake. It's usually what it's been lately because it's one of his favorite.
With cream cheese frosting?
Yes, cream cheese frosting.
Yes. Very good.
This year I'm going to attempt to make it from scratch.
Oh my.
But I'm going to have a box ready just in case.
I can make one cake from scratch. Actually, I don't think I've ever tried to make any other cakes from scratch. But I make it once a year for my son, my oldest son. The recipe is from his grandma that passed away a few years back. Can't do the math. Isn't it weird how time just, starts going so fast?
I know.
But yeah, that's the only one. And then sometimes like his stepmom will make the same cake and I tell him, I don't even let it, I tell him that mine is better. And I think they don't eat that much cake, and now his roommates moved out.
You would think that's a good thing because, of course, we make the better stuff. Who cares what everybody else can make? I make it better. That's how I look at it. Even if it absolutely positively sucks.
Yeah.
Dwayne said, so Tommy spoiled his mama's Christmas. Way to go, Tommy. And let me tell you.
And Christmas spoiled every birthday from there on out.
Yeah.
He made him suffer for that. Yes, so a Christmas baby, he hated it. He hated Christmas.
I've known a few people that were born on Christmas.
Yeah, and so up until we got together, he really didn't separate Christmas and his birthday until we got together. And the first year that we were together, I surprised him by asking him what kind of birthday cake he wanted. And he kind of looked at me and I said, well, what do you want for your birthday? And he's like, well, it's Christmas. He wasn't used to that. And so ever since, that's why he's never dated anyone like me before,
All you have to do is change belief systems. And then it won't be Christmas anymore. And then it can just be Tommy's birthday. I don't know, suggestion.
Right. Well, and that's why we split it, in the morning, it's all about Christmas. And then 12 p.m., it's all about his birthday. It is no longer Christmas in our house, but it is his birthday. And I feel that it's very important that he has that separation, and nobody else did that for him. Maybe your grandma, but nobody really did that for him.
Well, that's very sweet.
Hello, everybody who has joined us. Thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate it. So yeah, I mean, holidays are rough. This year it's rougher for us. And, when we stopped celebrating Thanksgiving with my family, I thought, now this is just me with my mental health, I thought I did something wrong. And so I would, even for a couple years after we stopped, I would always call my mom and be like, so Mom, are we going to celebrate Thanksgiving? And she'd be like, no, we're not doing Thanksgiving this year, just Christmas. And I'm like, okay. And I get off the phone and tell me like, she said no. And I said, yeah. And he's like, don't let it get to you. You know, my mom made some really darn good lasagna for Thanksgiving. I
Awesome.
got spoiled.
One year, nothing went according to plan. We ended up with pizza.
Yeah, Chinese 1 year.
Okay, yep. Very good. Very Christmas story of you there. But no, one of my things is I only like Dwayne's Thanksgiving dinner. And so if we were to be invited somewhere else, I'd be like, do we really have to? You know, I liked my mom's growing up, but I was always trying to talk her into mixing things up. And Dwayne will a little bit, you know, from year to year. My mother never did. But you want to know something? I don't even care about turkey.
I'm not a turkey. Dwayne, I don't need no comments, but I'm not a turkey eater either.
I'll have some, but I don't really care. You know, I can take it or leave it. But yeah, I like the cornbread stuffing, mashed potatoes, gravy. I only eat the friends who come over to play games after. He will sometimes bring rolls. His mother makes wonderful rolls, and that's the only rolls I'll eat.
I like the brown and syrup rolls.
The string bean casserole, especially if it's from fresh string, you know, includes fresh string beans. I don't think we do anything cranberry.
Oh, we love cranberry in this house.
Unless it's like cranberry 7-Up and a little something extra poured in, you know.
Yeah, we fight over cranberry in this house. However, I do enjoy ham, and I'm not much of a pork eater, but on Thanksgiving I do like to have ham, and I cook it with pineapple and cherries, and it turns out really good. Brown sugar, all that wonderful stuff. And then I made a mixture a couple years ago for Thanksgiving for the turkey, and it was my first turkey I ever made. I remembered to take out the giblet or the little bag of innards, the liver and all heart and all that stuff.
Yeah, Dwayne's not allowed to put that in the stuffing because I always end up with it. Yeah.
Well, we ended up frying it up and giving it to our cat.
Very good. Yeah, that's a good plan.
None of us eat it, but I remembered because I remembered the year before when Tommy had Jaslyn make a turkey.
And she didn't remember. That happens. And what, you can like stick an apple in it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things you can do with it, but I made
like bacon over the top.
Yeah, Tommy was talking about something about braiding bacon around it or on it or something. Yeah, I didn't do that. I just took a bunch of spices that I thought would go really good together, and I made a lot of it and put that on the turkey, and now it is a regular spice in our house.
Goose. I've had like plum goose, but that's it. I've never had goose prepared any other way. I'm seeing the Barbara's saying she grew up having goose. But yeah, green bean casserole, real beans with fresh bacon on it. That sounds real good.
The family gatherings change when both parents have passed away. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I mean,
you know what was for me? My grandma was the glue, and so she had died at the end of September, and then the first November. So my mom and stepfather lived in the same house as my grandma, and that first Thanksgiving, I was like, this is nothing personal, Mom. I could not make myself physically walk in her house to celebrate Thanksgiving without my grandma there. In fact, her chair, she had her rocking chair, and it would just be empty in its same spot. No one would sit in it. But that's what changed it all. Because after that, Life was just different. You know
Goose
what?
is more
Thinking
oily.
about my sister, I don't even think my sister was in the state. So yeah, just things really changed like right after my grandma died, and then my sisters left the state. My mom's dementia just took over. So
I see. I can't eat duck because we've had pet ducks and we have a pet duck. I couldn't eat goose either. That's just some weird sounding meat to me.
it is plum and duck. Yeah, it's duck with plum sauce, not goose. I never have had goose. Then yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so I had a finch. Sorry. We had a wild finch in our house this morning.
You had a what?
A wild finch?
Really?
Yeah.
You could have caught it and sent
Oh,
them.
I did. So sorry, my daughter and her fiance just got home and the dogs all freak out. But anyway, the cat had brought it in. And I saw the feathers, so I was looking around for a dead bird, but it was still alive. And so I threw a towel over it and then put it into a shoebox with tissue because I wasn't sure what kind of shape it was in, and I just wanted to give it time to relax. I thought maybe just put it in a dark, safe space.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started fluttering around in there, and my son took it in the backyard, and he said as soon as he took the lid off, it took off. So. But yeah, we've nursed birds back to health before from the cats bringing them in.
I had a cat, Hellfire, who, if a wild animal got hurt, it didn't matter if it was a bird, a rabbit, whatever it was. If it was hurt, he would bring it to our house, put it on the step, and then get annoying until I would come out and see what was going on.
Oh yeah, he wanted you to be proud of him.
The last wild animal he brought me was a wild bunny who had got run over by a car.
Oh, nasty.
Still alive.
Oh no, who took care of it?
He was panicky. He knew that I could try to help it, but there was no way that I could help him. I mean, it was pretty grody. And so all I could do was kind of sit there. He was in a towel, old towel, in a crate. And I was just like, not sure what to do with them. So I just stayed with them for, I think it was like an hour. And then Jasmine stayed with them for a short time. And then we had to go in, and then ended up having to go inside. And when we came back out to check on him, he was gone. So
we had a cat bring a bird in that it was on like the list of birds that are protected, and it was alive, but it was injured. So we took it to the wild bird sanctuary place. I do not like rescue people. I appreciate their passion and their hard work. I do not like rescue people in general. I'm sure there's some that are nice. Anyway, I'm just having this memory of what jerks they were. And because I've taken a couple birds to them. But yeah, I was like, well, if it qualifies, to get care, then I will.
I did want to bring up Swamp Picker's comment. He said, we'll get a second Christmas without my dad. I'm really sorry to hear that. But I hope that you guys have very good memories of him for sure. That's the best part, like when my aunt passed away. Oh, we have somebody in the back room. Hello, Barbara. I'm sorry I didn't see you pop in. I was too busy talking. But when my aunt passed away, it was very sudden. And all we could do, like for us, the way we handled it was because it was my mom's best friend. She was also my godmother, but we also called her our aunt. And so, my whole life, she knew me my whole life. And so my mom, because she was having such a hard time with it, me and my brothers would take turns calling her, sharing all the good memories we had with her, which I think really helped her pull through it. And so, I mean, she still is very sad about my aunt, my godmother.
Some losses you never get past.
Yeah, but I do have a good story about after she passed away.
Sure, let's hear it.
Okay, so my aunt had a thing for sending out mail. She sent out care packages to soldiers. She was a part of, it's called Angel something in Minnesota. But what they did was they always like went around to different people who needed it, who were like in hospice, stuff like that. And they just shared love. Okay. And so when my aunt passed away, because she always joked about when she passed away, she was going to go through the mail system. And my mom's like, no, 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 that's not right. Da, 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 da. So after my aunt passed away, she was cremated. My uncle Randy, who is her husband, had her cremated but turned into a heart. And I don't know if it's blown glass or what, but it's a heart, angel tree. Yeah, I think that's what it's called, Dwayne. But it's something in Minnesota that they did. But so he had her turned into a little heart for my mom. Well, it's actually a big heart. And I don't know what it was, but my uncle decided to fulfill my godmother's wish.
Mailed it to her.
Mailed it to my mom in a package.
That's funny. That is really funny.
So when my mom got it and opened it up, she knew that it was from my uncle, so she thought it was something that my aunt had left for her, not realizing that it was my aunt. So when she opened it up and she read the card, she bawled, like she started crying, and then all of a sudden it clicked. So she just started laughing. And so I came over. I had no idea that this had happened. And so I came over and we were doing something. I think Tommy was working on a vehicle, one of the vehicles. And my mom's like, come here. And she grabs me. She pulls me through the house, right? And she doesn't have a real big house. I mean, it's bigger than ours, but it's like an open concept type thing. She's like, she pulls me over by the fireplace, right? And I'm like, what are you so excited about? And she grabs this little heart and puts it in my hand. And I'm like, that's really pretty. She's like, that's your aunt. And then she starts to tear up. But guess what? Your uncle sent her through the mail just like she wanted. And I'm like, that is very morbid, Mom. But it was funny.
That is very funny.
So it was a good memory. It was a really good memory. And so I hope you have great memories too, Glenn, because that would be awesome to hear some really good memories of your dad. Barbara, how you doing?
Well, fairly well. The reason I came on is because I find this program very, very interesting.
That's your first compliment.
Very interesting. And the reason is that I am a member of a adult mental health organization in our county.
Really?
Oh,
wow. And I have, at one time, I actually co-chaired the group for about 6 months. But what it is a group of mental health organizations like clinics and organizations that provide services in our county, and they get together every month and talk about what's going on in their agency, and they talk about the needs of all of the people in the county about their mental health needs. And we do that every single month. we have not been, we haven't had a meeting since February because of COVID,
Right.
which is really strange because I am so used to going to what we call LAC meetings, Local Advisory Council. And so I'm a member of this council. It is a council that was in the state of Minnesota. Every county has the ability to have their own council, mental health council, and they just simply have to they get the funding from the county in order to do this. And so listening to all of you has really been very, very interesting, because that's the kind of stuff that we were doing every month. We'd get together at 3:00 in the afternoon, and we'd sometimes we even had work to do. Sometimes we'd have to put together documents to be presented to the county commission, or documents to be sent to the state of Minnesota. And so anyway, the subject of mental illness is very is one of my favorite topics. And so I hope you got a chance to view that video that I told you about on Saturday.
I actually forgot about it. I will be 100% honest.
That's okay.
I do have it saved.
That's
I
okay.
do have it saved.
Yeah. She's a remark. There's a lot of religious people out there that are great pastors and everything, but when they come to everyday advice, it ends up getting to be more of a what do you call it?
Therapy session?
No. It gets to be more like a church service, rather than they talk more about the religion and not about the things that are happening in your life.
Yeah.
But this video is about this pastor who is relating to the fact that she was bullied when she was younger, and she's sharing how she has resolved this. And the idea that she has is that the most important things in life are the things that make you who you really are, the positive things in your life, and those negative things, she refers to them as footnotes. That the abuse is only a footnote to your ability to be a survivor. And that's just an example of
that is really an awesome way to look at it.
I did drop her link in chat. I pulled it up. That's what I was doing. I pulled it up and I did put it in the chat for anybody who's interested in watching it.
And if you and in the video, you'll see what she looks like. And she's an older woman, probably in her 50s. And she's got dark hair with lots of streaks of gray hair in it. And she has more tattoos than she has open space on her body. I mean, her arms and who knows what else is all tattooed. And for a woman that's even close to my age that has a tattoo, that to me is amazing. So, but she is very popular among the youth and among younger people.
That's great.
But So
I
that's an idea.
yeah, I like I said, I did drop the link down in the in chat. When I look at her, you know, I see somebody that is very relatable. Like she'd be easy to walk up to,
Yeah.
open up and talk.
Yeah.
Which is cool because not a lot of people are like that. You know, especially if they're in the ministry. Sometimes you just kind of like sit back and you're like,
Right. Because they're into their theology. Nadia is not. Nadia, her ministry is about the people, and it's not about her theology.
That's wonderful.
Her theology is reflected in how she lives her life. In other words, nothing is important unless it's important to the people living today, right now. It's just not important if it isn't going to help you today. So
yeah. Speaking from experience in more different situations that I could begin to count, I have basically gotten the conversion talk to a religion I already belonged to countless times and situations. And it's hard to be in a place of peace when this is happening. It tends to give me a lot of anxiety when I admire people who have faith. I think it's a beautiful thing. And hearing about it is fine, but just as long as they're not trying to push it on me. I don't know. I've never seen what the end game is really supposed to be, but just for her to step out of what she does and truly make it about the people is just an amazing, beautiful thing.
Yeah. And so
because that's what actually helps, instead of being told to pray, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just like, yeah, I know.
Well, I think she's important because the thing is, I, as an older woman, and I have heard countless different ideas about how to approach things, how to deal with things. And when I viewed that video, it was something new and fresh that I had never heard before.
I'm going to watch it.
And I'm 70 some years old. And if it's new for me, I'm sure that it's going to be new for a lot of other people. The way it just blew my mind that she showed a different angle at looking at those painful, anxious parts of our life, the things that bring us anxiety, and to relabel those things as being footnotes. It means more to me because I'm also a writer, and I'll tell you some footnotes are in fine print at the very bottom in the back. They're not the main part of the story. They're just something little. They're like an asterisk. They're at the bottom of the page. And for her to say that my pain in my life is nothing more than a footnote, it blew my mind, and it freed a lot of anxiety and past anxiety that I had from. I went through 16 years of physical abuse from a husband, and I have, and it's obvious I'm to this day still trying to deal with that, and to say that experience, the experience itself, is nothing but a footnote to the fact that I survived it, and I am that much bigger and better person now than I was then really blew my mind. It just blew my mind.
So it's kind of like something I had heard one time that has always stuck with me, and it's you are not your story. And
Correct.
you know, I believe in owning your story, sure, but then, like you said, you turn it into a footnote, and you are more than the sum of your stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we often forget that when we get, you know, in certain frames of mind, and it just, you know, can bog us down. And we do need to remember that we are more than, and that we can become even more as we learn and continue through life.
Yeah.
That is a really terrific thing. What kind of books do you write?
Well, I am writing a book right now. It's a book based on a box of love letters that I found that belonged to my parents.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. That's
A real life love
that
story.
is so, yes, I think that's going to be beautiful.
It
I think
is,
that's a wonderful tribute.
but it's a really different book because it is a wartime, because they met during World War II. But there is nothing military about this book. Nothing at all. It takes place in in Minnesota, which is part of the Northern Plains. So it's about how this young man, who is who ends up being my father, how he has this anxiety that it isn't that he doesn't like women, he just doesn't want to marry one.
Just rather daunting, the thought of that.
He doesn't want to have. He wants children, but he doesn't want. But he knows that if he gets married, that this wife is going to want children, and he doesn't want children while his parents are alive. And it is after his parents pass away, and he's stuck with the estate. Then the rest of the family says, well, if you're going to have the home farm, you're going to have a wife. Well, he had never dated, and he was 30 years old. So they were trying all different ways to get him a wife. And so
did they do like the mail order bride thing?
Well, you have to. This is a German family, and you just don't order a bride for who is going to be the female head of the family, because this is going to be the woman that's going to that's going to
is she
bring on
a matriarchal figure?
Yeah. So
she's going to be hand selected.
So everybody wanted somebody that was going to be worthy of being this woman. And but the story deals with it, and they have a plan, and they come up with this great plan, and it basically it works. But you'll notice in the book that he's still not crazy about having kids. And even after he marries her, in fact, he actually gets cold feet right before the wedding, and she just loses it in the book, and she lets him know in no uncertain terms that that she's already spent all this money on this wedding, and it's and he is going to marry her one way or another.
It was a reverse shotgun wedding, huh?
Yes, but the thing is, he had already he literally had fallen in love with her. But the thing was, he was getting a really good case of cold feet. So
Wow. That's gonna
but
be
then you
exciting
find
to
out
read for sure.
you find out at the end of the book why he didn't want this, and I told the ending to my writer friends, because I'm part of a writing group, and they were just floored at the at the uh, at the end of the book.
It's going to be a
But
tearjerker.
the
I can't
last
wait.
the last page is a tearjerker. Yeah, you get to the last. Actually, it's the last paragraph, and then it's
I
cut off
can't
right then
wait.
and
To,
there. Yeah,
can't wait to read this book.
but
Right? That's
it's
what I'm saying.
the it's you've got a romance going on, and at the same time it's describing this anxiety that he had since he was a kid,
Oh
and
wow.
how he was trying to balance this out, and at the same time deal with what was. And then on top of it, this is a story about what life was like in the United States during World War II. So it has nothing to do about the military, nothing at all. It all has to do um, with the uh, uh, with what the country was, you know. It talks about um, how women, the economics of that time, and the
Pre-women's
culture.
lib.
It wasn't so much women's lib; it was the fact that the men were all basically went to war. The men basically went to war, and the only ones that were left were um, women and men that had disabilities. And so the thing is, my mom would would go to some of these parties, and the guys there were just nothing to really call write home about. They were they were either crazy or disabled
There's a
or
reason. you know, for Dwayne's grandma, both her husband and her twin brother made it back from the war, which is just, and they, all of them lived to be elderly. Now, I've got a weird thing to add with a funny story. So it was after Dwayne's great uncle, his grandma's twin brother, died. His widow compiled stories of his life. So she asked if we wanted to read it, and absolutely, I love that stuff. And as we're reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, so this would be his Dwayne's great uncle, was neighbors with my grandparents for 40 years. And we didn't even know until everyone but the widow and his grandma were left.
Wow.
I know. We had no idea. But
Small
it's
world.
it's where they lived and their names, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've heard those names. And so I called my mother, and she's like, yeah, you know who that is. And I'm like, I was thinking it was, and So that was really wild.
Wow.
Well, I just want to say, Barbara, when you put out your book, I would love to read it.
Yeah,
For
yep.
sure.
Put me on the list. I'll buy it from you.
Problem, the problem is I've got gobs and gobs of people that want to read my book, but that's not my problem. My problem is finding an agent that wants to publish my book.
What about
That's the
indie
big problem.
publishing? Have you thought about indie
Oh,
publishing?
Well, I could publish it through Amazon.
Yeah,
That would be
that's what I want.
that would be easy.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's called but the thing is, to get it published by an actual publisher, that's the harder part.
So I know people.
Yeah.
Oh, keep talking and then I'll tell you.
With the Amazon, they will take the transcript, and then whoever orders, then they publish the book each time there is an order for it.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of printing out
Putting out
1,000 copies, they will only print one for each. They will print one for each.
Oh, so
each
print on demand.
Well, yeah. What I'm seeing a whole lot of course, your story is very different, than what I've seen, where you, if it's going to be like a serial of stories, then, it starts off that the first one's free and then you pay a couple of bucks as you go, and you never actually have the hard copy of it. There's a lot, but with your book, it sounds like it needs to be the whole thing all together at once. And it also sounds like a book that would be great to actually own.
Well, no, with Amazon, you actually will get a paper copy shipped to you.
Yeah, I know you can do that, because you can also
get an actual
digital.
Once you buy it, you can share it with your family and friends and whatever. It's
sometimes
just like
you gotta have the physical book on.
It's a physical book. Yeah.
Dwayne and I listen to a lot of audiobooks.
Hold on here.
And some things are fine, but other things reading it is just especially if it's something complicated, simply listening to it, you can get kind of lost. But or maybe even emotional, there's the difference, but it sounds like yours would be a great book to have physical copy of.
Okay, so I was informed of digital publishing on Amazon.
Yeah,
and
I read a ton of those.
Yeah, and publishing companies, I guess, watch those.
They do.
Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if that's what you guys told me and it was.
Yeah, if you do a good job and they see that there's money to be made, they'll pick you up that way. But I've also met people who've made plenty of money not selling hard copies, but like I said, it all depends on genre, length of book, all that kind of stuff. Because, when it's the just the quick turn around, that kind of stuff, that's completely different than the kind of book that you're writing.
Yeah, some of the basically what mine is considered a memoir. Even though it's historical fiction, because there is fiction in there. I mean,
but it sounds like you're doing homework too. You're learning a lot as you go.
Well, there's enough history in there, but there's also a lot of places in there where the thing is, there's only, I'd say, 3 or 4 people that are still alive from that era. I know of, I have 3 cousins and I have an aunt. And they are the only ones that I know that were alive during that time period. Everybody else has passed away. So there is going to be a lot of fiction, and I make that clear in the book that, you know,
those
that,
books sell well,
Mhm.
I can think of several different books that are historical fiction, and you're entertained by the book. You learn about history. I think it's a great way to
So-
write a story.
yeah. And then this thing about this mental what do you call it, mental issue that that the husband has. That is because that is what I've termed the family secret, because that part of it was kept a secret until long after my parents passed away. And it wasn't until a few years ago that I approached these cousins that I told you that are still living. And I asked them if that part was true. And they acknowledged that it was.
Wow.
So and at the very end of the end of the book, that's where the family secret is revealed. Then it
My
makes
sister,
sense. Then it makes sense
my sister,
why this man didn't want to date, didn't want to get married. It was there was a lot of anxiety that he had through his childhood and through his adult life up to that point. And so
probably still had to learn how to deal with it, or as
yeah.
you go through different phases in life. But
Yep.
I have yet to read my grandma's story. I really need to. I think I've probably heard all the stories, but she compiled them. And then my sisters were both like, "Did you know Grandma was pregnant when she got married?" I'm like, to both of them, like, "Didn't you ever stop and do the math?" So that was like, I guess to have a secret there, which is something, of course, nowadays. You don't have to keep it a secret. You don't have to pretend like that didn't happen. Thank goodness.
Well, to give you an idea of how little the family knows about this couple, last week would have been my dad's birthday. He would have been 108 years old if he was still alive today. And one of his grandkids texted me and said, "How old would Grandpa have been if he was still alive?" And so they had no idea when he was born. They had no idea the year that he died. None of them know the year that he was married. Because a lot of the young people, they have their lives, and they don't really they don't ask those questions until much later. So,
Yeah, growing up for me personally, I didn't really know my family because we moved from Florida to Wisconsin when I was younger. And I was almost 11 when we moved here. And before then, we lived too far away to be able to visit family and stuff like that. And so I never really thought about family history or anything like that. And so, but I always had this strong connection to like Ireland and Celtic stuff and never could explain it. And then as I got older, like you said, I started asking questions. Well, come to find out, on my biological father's side, my great grandfather was adopted and his mother was full-blooded Irish. But that's all I know about her. She was full-blooded Irish, and he passed away when my great grandfather was young, and the Meeks family actually took him in. He wasn't adopted by like through the courts and stuff like that. But when he got married, he switched his last name to Meeks instead of keeping his actual last name. And so it was really intriguing listening to that. And then when my Nana was in respite and I was down there, I found out that it was either her mom or her dad was full-blooded Cherokee and the other parent was Irish. So I have like double whammy on just that side alone. And then my grandma says we have Irish on my mom's side too. So I was like, yay. So it's kind of interesting now. I wish, being older, I wish I would have asked questions when I was younger. But now I get to hear all the stories, and it kind of like brought me into a time in my life where I just want to hear about my family. I want to know my history, where I come from, who am I related to? I want to know all that knowledge. And I really, really wish I would have started it when I was younger. Thank heavens my grandmother did the family tree. And,
I showed you mine on my paternal, my dad's family. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like I wish I would have learned sooner when I was younger. And because I remember my grandfather, my mom's dad, used to tell us stories all the time. He was in the Navy, and he used to tell us about the mermaids he would see when he was on the ship. And so I always thought he was crazy. And then that incident happened with me at the beach when I was little. And yeah, so I don't care if people think I'm crazy or not, or cuckoo or whatever. I believe there are mermaids out there.
I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. When my oldest son was in junior high, he had an assignment to do an oral, what do you call it? Thank you. I was drawing a blank. Oral report. And it was, how did your family come to Utah? And like there was one kid who got up there and he's like, so my family, we moved here this summer. But for my oldest son, both my family and his father's family are from Pioneer heritage. So our families have been here for, over a century. And so we were like, oh, crap. But luckily my grandma was alive at the time. And it was actually getting close to, grandma was shortbread. You have not had shortbread unless you had my grandma's shortbread. Melt on your tongue, it is not shortbread. Anyway, so he to her house and baked shortbread. It's not just about the recipe, you have to know the process, and it takes years to perfect it. And so anyway, as my grandma and he were baking shortbread, she shared stories about her grandma that came over on the ship from Scotland with 11 children. None of them were not hers. They were her stepchildren. I cannot imagine how that woman survived it. I do know that she threatened to throw herself off the ship on many occasions. Blame her. I would have to. But It's like, wow, that is one hardy woman. Do that, and then make it clear to, I believe, in Wyoming, and then eventually in Salt Lake.
Oh wow. Wow, that's
So
wild. Peter, hello. We
How are
were
you?
so busy
What's
talking. I apologize.
I learned a long time ago you don't interrupt women because they'll just beat the daylights out of you. I just show my respect.
How are you doing?
Okay. Had a busy day. Got my last wooden sign finished today and gonna be shipping it out tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
You'll all be able to see it on Cajun Roots Reseller.
Sweet.
And he should have it probably by Friday. So when he does the royal auction on Friday, he'll probably have it hung up behind him.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, because it's only going from New York to Massachusetts, so not far.
Oh, not far at all for you guys. Yeah, it's quite a distance for us here.
Yep.
And it's way across the distance for Heather.
So did we get into the stop the stigma, or we've been just
No, I
chatting?
just put up the background. Just talk whatever,
Okay.
mental health, whatever is bothering people, all that stuff.
Hey,
So
swamp picker.
yeah, I'm gonna be doing different backgrounds.
I love the one you had this afternoon or this morning.
Which one? I can
The
actually
wolves.
the
That was
wolves.
awesome. Yeah,
Which
that was
wolf
very
one?
pretty. Well, you had two of them. You had the one where he was on the rock, and you had the big moon up on top.
Yep,
And
I had
then,
this one.
yep. And then you had the other one with the moon over here.
This one.
Oh, I didn't see that one. That one's pretty.
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
that is
somebody.
my warning alarm.
What is
So,
that?
we have a few more minutes. I will be dropping the link in chat for anybody who would like to join afterwards, after the live, if that's what you would like to do. Hello, Hickory Springs. Why is this show on Monday night instead of Saturday? Everyone missed Reseller Rowboat's show. So I switched it from Saturday to Monday nights at 8 because it is statistically for mental health chat or for mental health in general, it is the loneliest night of the week, and I would like to reach as many people as possible. It is also the highest suicide rate according to statistics, and I want people to know they're not alone. And so, sorry, Dwayne. So that is why I moved it from Saturday morning to Monday night. So, and I did not know that Beth was on. I haven't gotten. Now I've
I
got.
didn't even get an alert on that.
Yeah. So
I got yours.
I will have to make sure that I'm resubscribed to her, or make sure I'm subscribed. It shows that I'm subscribed, but I didn't get a notification at all. I haven't in actually a while. So I'm not sure why that is. My big head is in the way. Sorry, Dwayne. But I'll rewatch Beth's live here in a little bit. I don't know.
It's an easier schedule for me too to be here on Monday night in case you do need a professional help.
Yeah. It's just the night that works better for mental health, Hickory Springs. So.
I know I was dealing with it. That's why I was late.
It's all right.
I had one of my clients call me. She was a little perturbed. I calmed her down and told her that, why don't you come on YouTube? I don't like YouTube. Yeah, but you'll like this channel. She goes, well, maybe. And then she hung up on me, so.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Glenn, for stopping by. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. So yeah, you know,
Yeah, I had all my ducks in a row, all ready to go. Had all my
YouTube issue,
my
but I
booklets
haven't.
out. I
Yeah,
should
I
have
haven't gotten a notification in a while. I usually catch them afterwards, but I don't get notifications, and I've unsubscribed and resubscribed. So hopefully I'll get some notifications now. And that seems like a lot of people didn't get notifications. So, but, so yeah, this, I'm going to do this on Monday nights between, starting at 8 p.m. Central Time, to help anybody out there who may be struggling with mental health. So,
I'm going to be sending you a gift.
who, me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So pamphlets on just the whole gamut.
Oh, awesome.
You have to read the bipolar one to me. It's amazing how so many of those come. That you don't just get one at a time of those. You know how
I'm going to send her the whole packet.
Kit and caboodle. Awesome. Yeah,
we have
I give these out to my clients.
Sweet. I'm excited, actually. I like reading about mental health because it helps to for me to understand, at least attempt to understand what goes on in my brain.
I'm always looking for new things.
Yeah. I have an appointment on the 19th with my new doctor. I've only seen her once, but so Thursday I have an appointment with her, and I am really, really glad that I talked to my regular doctor, because if it wasn't for her giving me the encouragement just to tell this doctor that I wasn't interested in the ECT treatments, I probably would have felt that I had to do it and not wanting to upset my new doctor, if that makes any sense. And so she gave me the courage to, tell her I wasn't comfortable with that treatment. And because I did that, the doctor actually understood, and we're going to discuss more options that will be available for me. But, for me personally, because of the way my mental health works, I feel like even if I don't want to do something, I feel like I have to do it not to make anybody mad.
Don't make any waves. Be a good little girl. Do what you're told.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I hear you.
You're stronger than that.
You're
stronger than that.
That's what
my doctor
said, and that's what Tommy said. And
you're stronger than that. You stand on your own 2 feet, and you tell them where the bear pooped in the. I'm being respectful. In the woods. Even though, actually, I've heard Barbara go off, and you know what? She can swear like a sailor.
Nice.
I've seen
Are
her
you
in a
talking
couple of
about
chats.
me?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I have not on YouTube.
See, the funny thing is, Barbara was saying this one of them.
That was in my farm. That was on the actually it wasn't until after um I picked up a few words along the way when I was younger, but I very seldom use them anymore. So
Hi,
they
Tony.
aren't the words aren't they aren't useful.
B. Davy, yes, that is the shock treatment I was talking about a couple weeks ago. Electroconvulsive therapy, yes. See, Dwayne was right on that.
Yep.
They cause you to have seizures. Maybe next week we'll revisit that topic. I'll have to look and see.
I'm much more prepared now.
Right? And it was just something that I kind of touched base on, and and I really wasn't like.
Raven, you're absolutely right. It is called stroking out the brain.
Oh, right here. Yes, that's what they wanted to do, and my doctor wanted to do. And
I definitely gave her my opinion.
I didn't understand it.
That should be like the very last option.
Yeah, I really thought that it was the way that the doctor had made it sound. It sounded like it was going to be the cure of all my issues, and I wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. And I would be happy. I'd be back to the way I was once everything was said and done. And
which is not possible. That never happens.
No, and but I didn't realize it, and so I was being the good girl, and I was following what my doctor wanted me to do. And then, like I said, Tommy did his research, and which he's so good at. And
then she met the Punisher.
What's that?
And then she met the Punisher.
Then I met Peter, and then I talked with Heather and Dwayne, and then I talked with all of you, and so that is definitely not something at this time that I will be doing. But maybe we'll touch base on it next week, once again, so we can get it out there so people understand what it is, and if it's a treatment that is being suggested to you, you have the pros and the cons for it. You should know all your facts before you decide yes or no. And that's something that I've learned.
Peter?
Yeah.
What is that new treatment? It's kind of it's not ECT, but it's where they use magnets. It's kind of like a magnetic.
Magnetherapy, where they put on it's like a bonnet full of magnets on your head. I honestly don't feel there's enough research yet to have just a definitive opinion. What I've heard about it and what I've researched on it, it's in the starting stages. They're trying it out on children because it's non-invasive.
Yes.
And it seems that children are responding, but they become very hyper.
So you just trade one thing for another thing.
Kind of. They're not striking out as much. They're not. I mean, it's not a fix-all. There's nothing in the world that's
never a fix-all.
Right.
I mean, you're gonna have pain. You're gonna have suffering. I went through a hellish childhood. Everybody's had their horrible moments in their lives that no matter, unless you totally forget everything, which I'm sorry to say, but that electrotherapy would definitely do that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still going to dream about it. You're still, your dreams are always a conscious thing that will bring up a trigger. I've woken up in the middle of the night running off the bed. And all I was trying to do was get away from an explosion.
Yeah,
And
Raven says that she had a friend who had the ECT done, and she's not the same. She's worse than before the treatment.
How sad.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just thankful that as soon as, I mean, Tommy was listening, but he wasn't like gonna step in. It was my appointment that I was having, but he always, I know I can count on him to listen and understand things. So if I have questions, I can ask him and he'll be able to explain it to me if I get confused on something. And so I was very thankful that, he listened for the most part on what was going on with my appointment. And when I sat and talked with him about the ECT treatments, he's like, before you make a decision, let me do research. Because he did jokingly make a comment to me, and it was joking, and it made me laugh, as horrible as it may sound, that, he didn't want me sitting in the corner drooling. He'd rather deal with me this way than sitting in a corner drooling.
Sure.
And I know it sounds horrible to people, but you have to understand Tommy and I's relationship. When he does stuff like that, it makes me laugh because I know he's not meaning it negatively. It's his way of snapping me out of whatever's going on. If that makes any sense to anybody else.
Yeah.
I always use laughter with my clients, because when the situation gets overly tense, and I know that they're gonna either go one way or the other, I'll crack a funny joke. I'll crack a dad joke. And they kind of look at me strange at first, and then it triggers them that I just cracked a joke in the middle of a very serious moment. And then they burst out laughing because they're like, is this guy just touched in the head, or what did he just do?
Yeah.
And all I'm doing is what we call it in our kind of work is we call it diffusing the situation. We use laughter to diffuse. Some people just don't understand that. They can't crack a joke to save their lives. And, I'm good at that. I mean,
It
I
should be
get everybody.
mental illness all on its own.
Yeah, I get them laughing, and then I get into a different track. And once I get them into that next track, then I can 9 times out of 10 reel them in, keep them calm, and then work on what we're going to be working on, so that they understand that they're the patient, I'm the boss. So you have to kind of you gotta handle people with kid gloves, but there's a time where you just gotta kind of put your foot down and say, okay, enough with the playing, it's time to work. And it works for me. I mean, our office says we're supposed to go out in dress shirts and dress pants and dress shoes and all spiffy and all this other stuff. And I looked them straight in the face and I said, absolutely not. And they looked at me and they said, that's our policy. I said, I don't care what your policy is. I said, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to go to summer meetings in shorts and a t-shirt. I'm going to go to winter meetings in sweatpants and a sweatshirt. And they looked at me like, that's not our policy. I said, then fire me. I said, but I'm going to tell you right now, that's how I'm going. And it's funny because every client I have prefers it. They love it. They've actually sent letters to my office stating that they love the way I deal with them.
You're relatable.
I don't want to go in there all stern and dressed up. I want to go there casual. I want them to be sitting there with their fluffy slippers and a bathrobe on and smoking a cigarette and just shooting the breeze. And then the way I do it is when they shoot the breeze, I work in their service plan into the conversation, and they have no clue.
And it's completely non-threatening. when you do it like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, for sure.
I think that my teenagers felt that I was rather insensitive at times, but I would try to find humor in things because we've all been teenagers.
Mhm.
And when you're past that phase, it's like, I know this is horrible right now, but trust me, life is going to get worse. This really isn't that big of a deal. And I think they get it now. And sometimes some of my stories I would tell them, they're like, really, Mom, that's the story you chose. I'm like, well, think about it. And they're just like, my most favorite one, though, about when each of my 3 teenagers at some point, they're like, you don't even know me. And I'm like, you don't even know yourself. It's like, trust me, I know you way better than you do.
I can't wait to use that one. But my dog will probably turn it on me.
Yeah, because if they would be getting all worked up and dramatic or angry, and like I said, I would just try to pull them out of that moment and realize, you know what? You got a roof over your head. There's food in the cupboard. You got 2 parents that love you. My oldest son, I guess his stepmother loves you on some level, but the rest of us.
Wow.
And when you have these things, you can continue on to another day.
When I've been working with professionals, I look at it this way, that they're there to guide me through this process, but I'm the one who has to do the work.
Absolutely.
And as a result of that, I've made much better progress through the years than a lot of my peers who have been dealing with similar issues.
Well, I definitely want Barbara as one of my clients. Her and I would get along great.
Right? And
Oh yeah, it doesn't take me long to
what? No fair.
She'd be heaven.
Well, you know what? I've been thinking about what we talked about on Saturday, because I have had this thought process before, but then someone had made a comment that got us talking. Ideally, I would like to find someone who does treat me like that I'm the one who's the expert on myself, and not, I'm not like an automatic defensive person, but I have found that the lady, who I talked about, go to for my mental health medication, and talking with her, there are times I do feel defensive. And like I said, that is not my go-to. And so I liked her for a while, but maybe it's time for me to move on.
I don't have that problem. Doctors are scared of me. They all tell me I'm intimidating, including my mental health and my therapist. They all tell me I'm intimidating.
I think the reason they let me stay at the hospital when I went with Jeremy and kid number 3, and I'm like, I'm having him today. And they called the doctor, and Jeremy was 4 weeks early, and the doctor's like, keep her. I was so ornery. and did I have him that day? I went from nothing to having him that day because I was ornery and determined.
All right. Well, we're going to head out. So thank you, everybody on the panel, for joining. Everybody in chat, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next Monday, 8 p.m. Central Time, for another Mental Health Safe Place live chat. And we will catch you all later. Do you guys have anything you'd like to say before we head out?
I would like to say thank you very much, Barbara, for your conversation.
It was wonderful.
I'm definitely looking forward to reading your book. I really am.
For sure. And much love, everybody. Have a great rest of your night.
Thank you so much.